If you build a skill that has intelligence of a web service built behind it, you can change the web service 5 times a day, and it can give different results based on the conversation.
This is Velocitize Talks, and I'm Eric Jones. I'm here with Adam Wolf, the CTO of North America West for Wunderman Thompson. Adam, great to have you.
Thanks for having me, Eric.
Tell us a little bit about Wunderman Thompson and what makes you special in the marketplace.
Yeah, Wunderman Thompson is it's a relatively new construct, right? We're part of the WPP network, and it's a conglomeration of the Wunderman Agency, which is the holding company that my company has rolled into, and J. Walter Thompson, which is a traditional kind of Mad Men era advertising agency, right? So bringing those two businesses together, Wunderman is very focused on data, commerce, technology. Now with some of the businesses they've rolled into it, user experience, digital user experience. And the JWT side is, traditional advertising. So, what we aim to do now is be able to service our clients across really any medium, right? And our MO is really about sort of delivering the full stack of capabilities for our customers from, customer acquisition, whether that's media, campaigns, SEO, advertising with the big advertising platforms, either digital or not. Bringing those people into an experience that might be web, native mobile apps, voice, other digital properties, maybe not digital properties, and get conversion, right? And from conversion, we think that's e-commerce transaction or CRM sign up or something that really engages a customer, more with a brand.
So, looking across, your entire portfolio of clients, in aggregate, what are some of the things that you've learned? What are the insights you've been able to glean from analyzing that data in terms of, challenges and opportunities?
Yeah, well, I guess some of the obvious ones are things like where they're getting stuck in the process and where fall off is, and that's pretty traditional analytics, right? Looking at user journeys and finding out where people are getting stuck and addressing those specific places. I think more so, Wunderman and Wunderman Thompson now have a prolific data business, right? That they have amazing data on a lot of households and a lot of data items on them. So some of the things that we can do are look at our customers' data that we're gathering and do lookalike matching with this huge amount of data profiles so that we can sort of predict the nature of what our customers' clients look like and be able to model data and create ads or create experiences that we think are going to be good conversion tactics for them.
How do you see AI, either now or in the near future, kind of playing out in this data-rich world that we live in?
Yeah, there's a lot to AI, right? AI is a lot of different things, from voice skills to machine learning and inference of data and kind of targeting based on that. I think it's going to play out in just so many ways. There's so much automation that is occurring and can happen. One of the things that we are really good at with regard to AI is doing sentiment analysis, mashing that up with our data models that we have, and trying to put together profiles and ads and media and assets that we can put one-to-one in front of specific customers. And so working with, producing that kind of stuff and working with media agencies is where we're mostly focused with regard to AI. But like I said, there's so many parts of it, from voice recognition and image recognition and automation around that there's an endless supply of things that you can do with regard to AI.
So data is also the lifeblood of personalization, and wondered if you could share some of the things that you're doing to create far richer, more emotionally evocative experiences using that data?
I think a lot of our clients, they feel like I feel like they get handcuffed with the personalization situation because there's so much data and there's so many options, and you have to make content for each persona or archetype that it gets overwhelming and very expensive. The getting expensive part, I think, can really be helped with AI, right? Like, I think there's AI tools that can build personalized experiences for different personas just with the flip of some buttons and some, deft programming. As far as personalization itself goes, I'm an advocate of starting simple and doing something easy and simple with not too many factors to just get it off the ground and see how you do, and make it more complex as you go along and as you have the as you have the stomach for.
How are you thinking differently about voice in sort of the, from a UX perspective or even from a customer experience perspective?
Yeah, we've been pitching voice as a customer engagement point for a while. We're heavily involved with Amazon. One of the nice things about working for an agency that reports into WPP is you get access to your own leadership in businesses like Amazon. So Amazon has a WPP alliance person who I'm well acquainted with. And so it gives us some additional access to some of their products. Echo being one of them, right? So Echo Show and the Echo Look and the Dot and all these things. We've been pitching that as a necessary engagement method to our clients for a while, right? So me, as a kind of technology leader, I'm a service-oriented architecture guy, right? I've never gone into a pitch in probably the last 15 years that hasn't had a diagram of a service architecture, right? That's a bunch of back-end systems that are hooked together by a service architecture sitting on a cloud, or that is sitting on a private instance of a customer that's interacting with website, mobile apps, voice skills, digital dashboards, car dashboards, et cetera. That's the nature of what I think a digital transformation looks like.
And yet there's still a lot of brands that are sitting on the sidelines with voice. How do you counsel that they begin to get involved and get in the game? Again,
I'm an advocate of keeping it simple, right? And unless you have that back end to support what you want to do, it's just a conversation, and it's a hard-coded conversation often, and that makes it so that it's arduous to keep up. It's hard to change that skill unless you have a service architecture that's more adaptable and easier to change out of the context of that skill, right? Like with a skill, you make updates to the skill and you have to publish it, and it goes through Amazon review and all that. It takes days, to get that done. If you build a skill that has intelligence of a web service built behind it, you can change the web service 5 times a day, and it can give different results based on the conversation.
Even over the last 2 years, what are some of the changes that you've begun to see in RFPs? What are you being asked for a lot more of and expect to as we hit 2020?
Yeah, I think chat is one of them. Voice. Customer service doing kind of VIVRs, so people engaging across a lot of different tools at once, like a web chat, a voice interactivity that also connects them to either a person in real time or artificial intelligence that's bringing back information. So for example, we work with Con Edison in New York, right? And they are, they have a lot of people calling when there's power outages, or they need to pay bills, or they're having problems getting online with their accounts, et cetera. And one of the things that we think we want to help them with is the ability to get people more engaged with some artificial intelligence and automation around making sure their customers can get answers without having to make a phone call and sitting on hold and taking up a customer service rep's time.
It's pretty tough to handle those things, though, to make it transparent, to handle that seamless transition from the chat bot to a live rep, and how are you getting all that done?
None of it happens without web services. right, with a business with web service, and that's where a digital transformation has to start, because otherwise there's a lot of dead ends. And fortunately, we have been working with Con Edison, for example, for 3, 4, 5 years now, and they have a prolifically well orchestrated web service architecture that has, single sign-on, and all the devices that we can bring online, we can authenticate them against the service architecture that we help them design and build, and we manage their web properties, right? So we're experts in authentication and all that kind of stuff, and we know where to go to get the information we need. For example, their content is in their content management system, and we have the keys to the Solar interface index to get the piece of content that we think is relevant, right? I mean, there's some AI and some other things that have to happen with regard to listening to a conversation and trying to understand, the utterance and what the intent is, and then delivering the right thing.
One of the questions we love asking our guests is a book or podcast that you'd like to recommend to our viewers.
Yeah. Something called Don't Overthink It, which is, I think, a really good philosophy. And one of the things that I try to apply to my teams, we can really get tied up in overthinking solutions for people. And my philosophy with our technology teams is always, let's not overthink it. Let's make a decision, and probably it's not going to be the right decision, but let's hit what we think is the closest thing to the right decision, and let's go down the road for a ways. And if we have to change the decision, then we get together and we change the decisions.
That was awesome. Thanks, Adam.
Yeah, thank you.
Appreciate
your time.
That was Adam Wolf, the CTO of North America West for Wunderman Thompson.